My friends, let me tell you something simple yet profound. 1 hour can change your life. Every single person you admire, every author, every innovator, every legend had the same 24 hours you do. The difference, they decided to own just one of them. See, the 1 hour rule isn't about doing everything. It's not about hustling yourself into the ground. It's about choosing 1 hour a day, just one to pour back into you. 1 hour where you turn off the noise, log out of comparison, and log into growth. The power of intentional time, 1 hour a day, can redefine your entire future. Use it with purpose. You know, people often underestimate the value of just 1 hour. We talk a lot about motivation, about ambition, about wanting to live better lives. But we rarely ask ourselves, what am I doing with the time I already have? The truth is, 1 hour isn't just a block of time, it's a mirror. It reflects how seriously you take your future. It reflects whether you're living by design or by default. Psychologists call this intentional time use, the conscious act of aligning your actions with your goals. And philosophically, it challenges one of the deepest human dilemmas. Whether we are the authors of our lives or simply passengers in them. 1 hour a day spent deliberately puts you in the seat of authorship. It's your way of saying, I'm not just reacting to life, I'm shaping it. This hour doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't even need to feel profound in the moment. But over time, it sends a message to your subconscious. I am worth the investment. My growth matters, and that message becomes internalized, woven into your habits, your decisions, your identity. You see, intention isn't about massive change all at once. It's about reclaiming the smallest unit of time with the largest possible purpose. So, let me ask you, if you had 1 hour today to become more of who you're meant to be, would you take it? Or would you let it pass like all the others? Because the life you want won't demand your perfection, but it will ask for your presence. 1 hour for growth, dedicating an hour daily to learning or skill. Building transforms average into excellence. Now think about this. What if you took that 1 hour and used it, not to consume, but to create, to learn, to sharpen the mind? That's where real transformation begins. Growth isn't an accident, it's a discipline. And dedicating just 1 hour a day to intentional learning can place you in a different category, not just professionally, but spiritually, emotionally, intellectually. When you study psychology, you find that the brain is most adaptable when it is engaged in challenge. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, is not just something for children. Adults can change too, but it requires one thing, deliberate effort over time, and the 1 hour rule, when applied to growth, becomes a method of reprogramming not just what you know, but how you think. Every time you sit down and say, this hour is for expanding who I am, you're reconditioning the self. You're shifting from passive existence to active evolution, and that matters. Because in a world that bombards you with noise, distraction, and surface-level information, choosing depth is a radical act. It's not about how much you know. It's about who you become through the process of knowing. So ask yourself, what could you learn in a year if you gave it just 1 sacred hour a day? How would your conversations change? How would your confidence evolve? Because if you want to live a meaningful life, you must first be willing to grow into the kind of person who can carry that meaning well. 1 hour of learning a day isn't a luxury, it's a revolution. Compounding effort over time, 1 hour each day over a year, equals 365 hours, equivalent to over 9 work weeks of growth. There's a principle in both finance and psychology called compound interest, and it applies just as much to personal growth as it does to money. 1 hour of effort may not seem life-changing today, but repeated over time, it builds into something extraordinary. When you commit to that 1 hour, day after day, you're not just learning or improving, you're multiplying your momentum. Let's break that down. 1 hour a day for a year equals 365 hours. That's more than 9 full-time work weeks. Imagine what could happen if you spent the equivalent of over 2 months, uninterrupted, becoming an expert in a new skill, mastering your emotional intelligence, or deepening your understanding of your own purpose. Most people never do this, not because they can't, but because they never think about time this way. Psychologically, repetition reinforces identity. When you do something consistently, you begin to see yourself differently. You no longer say, "I'm trying to learn," you say, "I am a learner." That shift, that subtle but powerful identity change, is what moves people from mere intention to real transformation. And philosophically, this is about honoring time not as something to spend, but as something to invest. Every hour compounds, every day builds on the last, and in a culture obsessed with instant results, the person who understands the long game holds the real power. So if the days are passing anyway, why not make them accumulate into something remarkable? Because the time will pass. The question is, what will you have to show for it? Reclaim your time. You do have an hour. It's hidden in distractions, procrastination, and unintentional habits. Now let's address the most common resistance. I don't have time. And I want to say this with compassion, but also with clarity. It's rarely about time. It's about where our attention goes. Modern life is a master of distraction. Endless scrolling, reactive habits, background noise masquerading as productivity. And in that swirl, we lose something vital, not just our hours, but our ownership of them. From a psychological lens, this is called cognitive drift, the subtle erosion of intentional focus. You don't even notice it happening until days, weeks, even years go by, and you realize you've been living in reaction, not creation. But here's the liberating truth. Most people have more than enough time. What they lack is awareness of how it's being used. Reclaiming 1 hour isn't about adding something new to an already packed life. It's about trading noise for meaning. Swapping 30 minutes of scrolling and 30 minutes of passive entertainment for something that nourishes your future self. The philosopher Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." That hits differently when you realize how much potential is quietly slipping away, moment by moment. This hour, it exists. It's already in your day, hidden in plain sight, waiting for you to claim it. So the challenge isn't finding the time. The challenge is valuing it enough to take it back. If you want a different life, start by living your time differently. Success leaves clues. Many of the world's most successful people carve their success out of their extra hour. Look closely at the lives of those who have achieved greatness, not in a superficial or performative way, but in a way that leaves a lasting mark. You'll notice a common thread. They carved time from the ordinary to pursue the extraordinary. This wasn't accidental. It was intentional. They applied what we now call the 1 hour rule long before it had a name. And that's because success leaves clues. It always has. From artists to entrepreneurs, scientists to spiritual leaders, what they shared wasn't just talent or opportunity. It was discipline. They understood that greatness is constructed in quiet moments, often when no one is watching. That 1 hour a day became their workshop, a protected space for vision, mastery, reflection, or learning. They weren't just reacting to life, they were rehearsing for the life they intended to live. Psychologically, this commitment reinforces self-efficacy. the belief that you are capable of influencing your own outcomes. And that belief, once internalized, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You begin to act like the person you are becoming, not the person you've been. So when you doubt the value of 1 hour, remember, the people who have shaped culture, shifted paradigms, and left legacies didn't wait for perfect timing. They made the time, and then they honored it. You don't have to imitate anyone's path, but you'd be wise to study their habits. Because the blueprint is there, quietly whispering, start with 1 hour and keep showing up. You deserve to invest in you, it's not selfish. 1 hour daily for you is the best gift you can give the world. Now let's address something deeper, something most people won't say out loud. Many of us hesitate to claim that 1 hour a day because, on some level, we've been conditioned to believe we're not worth it. That pouring into ourselves is selfish. That investing time in personal growth, healing, or education should come after we've handled everything and everyone else. But here's the truth. You can't give what you don't have. And you can't lead a meaningful life if you're constantly running on empty. Philosophically, this comes down to value, not what the world places on you, but what you believe you're worthy of. And psychologically, that value becomes the foundation of self-respect. When you give yourself 1 hour a day, consistently, you're not just learning a new skill or reading a book. You're teaching your subconscious mind, I matter, my development matters, my time has weight. This changes how you walk through the world. You begin to speak differently, make decisions with more clarity, and hold boundaries with more ease. Because you've established a baseline of self-trust rooted in daily action, not just abstract intention. So this isn't about self-indulgence. It's about self-responsibility, and the more you invest in your own becoming, the more equipped you are to elevate those around you. You are not stealing time from anyone by choosing to grow. In fact, your growth may be the very gift the world is waiting for. And it all begins with 1 sacred hour.